Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I got this message for a special group of my brothers and sisters throughout the country. Those who have been so disgusted and brought so low in relationship to the life that they live every day until they have problems envisioning a dream, hope, aspiration. You see them a lot of times on the corner drinking beer someplace. Sometimes you see them doing all kinds of strange things that you would say kind of abnormal, but they find themselves doing this because this is the life that they have lived. I want you to know I'm constantly, if you've heard me before, talking about God, talking about heaven, talking about the beautiful life, a life that for the most part you probably have never even dreamed of. And when you hear people talking about it, you think it's a lie or some kind of scam that someone is trying to pull on you. And often that is what usually is happening. But I want you to know about the God that I am representing. That's the God of love who is responsible for everybody on the face of the earth. That includes you. And you might not believe that because you got so much pain, so much suffering in your life. But you have that in your life not because of God, but because those who claim and profess to know God are lying. Those who say that they have a relationship with God have themselves been deceived. And because they have, then they have nothing to offer you but an extension of that deception. They don't understand what it's really like when we talk about heaven. They believed in the systems that they've been born under, whether it was capitalism, whether it was socialism, whether it was dictatorships, it doesn't matter. It's the same old game that's presenting that which is less than what God has promised all of us. But it doesn't just happen. There are ways and means that we must act and carry ourselves in order to receive these things. I have shared with you what most people have not, and that is that God is the creator of heaven and hell. That one is for those who follow a certain basic principles, the other is for those who do not. But this exists, and it happens because God is loving, God is fair. He gives you, the people, choice. And we have been going through a bad choice. We have not known God. And this is why I take the time, ladies and gentlemen, to say to you that God loves you. And when I say that because I've had miracles in my life. Never asked for them. They just happened. And when they happened, I knew it was God. Took away all doubt that I have about God because I know God exists. And I don't need to hear people talk about God. I don't need to hear people preach about God. And I don't have to read in the Bible about God or any other book. Because the God that I'm familiar with is a spirit God who used the spirit to identify God in my life. And so I come to you, ladies and gentlemen, and say, for those of you who don't understand what heaven is like, it's a very simple matter. You know we live in a world that's all messed up. You can't think right about this or that. But with God, everything is simple. I want you to see it this way. Many of you are familiar with athletes, especially guys who really are good. Whether it doesn't matter what sports it is, but they're good. And you hear them sometimes. You love them. You know when they're good, you are drawn to them. And you hear them say how wonderful it is that they do what they do. They love it, and that on top of it, they get paid. And that makes it out of sight. You know how you've heard dream. That's why I meant most folks try to be good themselves if they're going to consider sports or anything else. It's for the rewards that they usually will get from it that will make life a lot easier. It's almost like winning a lottery. How wonderful you think it would be to pay $2 and get a ticket and win $1 billion. That's a headache you don't want to experience. But the point of it, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers, is that the process for this easy heavenly living on earth is that you have a career that you choose. Not one that somebody say, I'll offer you this or offer you that for, but something that you say, this is what I love to do, this is what I want to do, this is what I gotta do. And you do it because it gives you your greatest joy. And anything that you lack as far as being able to be successful to your own imagination, education is there available to you to aid you in whatever it is and required to make you successful. And when you do this, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers, every last one of you who are listening to me, human beings on the face of the earth anywhere, I'm not just talking to my sisters and my brothers right here in Minnesota or this country. I'm talking about human beings everywhere on the face of the earth. When you engage yourself in the process, what you are doing is creating, causing a manifestation of those things that you and the people have determined are essential for you wherever you are. And the resources for this are there in an abundance that when everybody's engaged in the process, you create such an abundance that no one would have to suffer or lack for anything. You know what that means? That means that the house, the home that you've always dreamed of, now is yours. The only thing you have to do is go through the process. Like the system is set up, go through the process. The benefit is that you get what you are requiring, what you are requesting, and it doesn't cost you any money. Same thing about your transportation, your car, your truck, whatever you want. You choose it. Go through the process just like you do today. And it's yours. It doesn't cost you any money. It's like going to the gas station, to the service station. You need some gas. Fill up that tank and drive away. It doesn't cost you any money. You need food. Go to the store. Go to wherever, supermarket. Go to where you have to buy clothes, where you have to buy anything. Go and go through the process. It's yours. It doesn't cost you any money. And the reason it doesn't cost you any money, because this is what you, the people, have made. It belongs to you and all the people to access when you want it, when you need it, when you desire it. This is the secret to life, my friends. And you know the Republicans, no country on the face of the earth is doing this for you. It can only happen because it is God's love that has changed the way you've been indoctrinated. And it would have to be your choice. You have been told, and many people to go into church, Easter and stuff like this, is going to be waiting for Jesus to come back out of the cloud and whip somebody. Some of you want to be sucked up in the air. And the rest ain't there. Jesus come down to spank somebody. Somebody got to beat you. Somebody got to put a foot in you to get you to straighten up. No. You're going to straighten up because you want to straighten up. And perhaps when you straighten up, if you believe that Jesus will come back, then he might come back after Jesus has recognized that you've got it together, and he doesn't mind being down here with you. No, not to come fix you. You fix yourself. You make the choice to fix yourself, and you will be fixed. And let me tell you, you can't play the game, because there are two things about these ways of life that I tell you about. One, the one that I call hellishness, the one with all the pain and suffering, the one with the lying, the cheating, the stealing, and deception and stuff like this. Those people who are like that, in order to have their way, will kill you to have your way, to have their way. On the other hand, those who are for heaven or for the beauty of life will prove beyond a doubt that evil will never get them, because death will not force them to come over and become a power broker for evil. No way. Now, what happens after you die, or do you have to die? That's a choice, again, that you have to make. Many people believe in self-defense. If you believe in self-defense and you stand up on righteousness, you're not going to lose. You are not going to lose. You're not afraid. You're not going to lose. Everything's going to work for you. If you decide that you don't want to kill, and then you just allow them to kill you, but by standing up for what's right. For instance, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I made a vow in the 70s. That I was going to do the will of God. I was going to just stop doing, because I knew God had blessed me and was calling me to do a certain thing. It came up around in the late 80s. I think I was married and I had a child. And it was during the time when we're having all the problems with the housing crisis. When the bubble burst and everything went crazy. And in Minnesota, I remember telling my wife, I said, let us, you and I, she and I, and my son, let's move up to the state capitol. This was going to be our protest. What I want to move to the state capitol is to be able to draw attention. Hopefully somebody would say, why are they there? And if I could get people to understand why, or curious enough as to why I was there, then I get a chance to tell them about this new way of life that God has prepared, that we don't have to go through any of this stuff. And my wife, when I said that, she thought I was crazy for thinking that, as I'm sure you would think that I'm crazy. And I gave into it, and rather than going up to the state capitol, I've been talking. You see, there's a difference between talking and walking. So at that time, I chose, for whatever the reasons whatever they were, I chose to keep on talking and stop walking at that moment. And I knew, and I know today as I speak to you, if righteousness does not prevail, I knew, as I'm saying to you again, that I would be killed just by standing up for right, because the country and the world is not about right, But if I committed myself that I was not going to accept anything, like when she said, my wife said no, then I acquiesced and came on and started to continue talking. No, that won't get you in place, ladies and gentlemen. That just bring up more problems. But so that was where I found myself at that moment in time. So what I'm saying to you is this: those challenges are going to come, and you're going to be like a lot of people who say, well, maybe it's better not to do that. And you can keep on saying it's better not to do that. But if you do, things are not going to change. For instance, my plan was that if I committed myself totally and would not accept anything else, then I would die from being killed early. I would, somewhere between 38 or 50, if I lived that long, somebody would murder me. Why? Because I represented God, represented love to all the people on earth, and they couldn't take it, and they killed me. That was fine with me. But I also knew that if I didn't represent God, if I just hang on, trying to struggle, waiting on people, I'd end up getting old and become a victim of this hellish system that we live under. Not having the adequate health care because the money's not there. Not having access to other things that you would need money to do. And all of these things would become just a way of life inflicted upon me by my choice, because I refused to stand up to its entirety and yield myself more or less to a later date. And here I am now at that later date, over in my middle 70s, getting ready to go through all of the changes that old folks go through. Like, you name every kind of sickness, every kind of disease, everything that you got will mess. You will be so messed up as an old person. You will. I'm telling you. And then you come around to dying, you got to go through pain and suffer. You got to ache. And some people beg God, please take their lives. But I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, once you got your act together, euthanasia, that means that you have the opportunity to say, well, you don't even have to be sick, but you're tired of living. You have the opportunity, you have the right to choose to go and get a shot or something and go to bed and get out of this world. A lot of people want to just get out of this world. But when you're living like in heaven, you don't want to get out of this world. You probably want to stay forever. But it won't make any difference, because you would have created your own, and you become a seed that if there is a heaven beyond here, there's no other place worse than you can go than heaven. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope I have made some kind of point. At least that was my intention. My intention was to say, act like my brother told me once. He says, if he had one more chance, he'd serve God like there was nothing else on the face of the earth. To think about you, the people all over the earth, South, Central, every continent, people everywhere, having a way to participate in life. When the sun shines, they are shining. When the snow falls, they themselves are just sliding all over the place, having a wonderful time. Why? Because they found the secret of life and they're satisfied with it. They're not complaining about anything. They go to bed at night feeling good. It doesn't matter if they don't wake up, because they know if they do, it's going to be another fantastic thing. No lying, no cheating, nobody trying to rip you off, con you off, trying to sell you something. You're living. And that's what I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen. The God that I serve makes that possible. But you cannot serve two. If you make the choice that this life that I just got to share with you ain't worth giving up your life for, then you'll always be where you're at, and you'll never get anywhere. And if you're not satisfied, you won't be satisfied. And as long as you hang on to it, you will find that either you will get worse or your pain will suffer more. Thank you.